Welcome to the Shooting Show. This week, a stalking mission at the heart of the Chinese water deer population in the UK. Plus we show you the best method of how to sight in a rifle. Top stalking guide Paul Childerley has taken me to Bedfordshire, at the heart of Chinese water deer territory in the UK. The Chinese water deer story really starts behind me in Duke of Bedford's park at Woburn. And interestingly, during World War II, the guards that were guarding the park gates actually left them open, and a significant number of Chinese water deer and muntjac escaped into the wild and basically formed the nucleus of the population that we've got living free in the UK today. It's an intermediate deer in between the muntjac and the roe deer in size. It's two colour phases. In the winter time it's a longer brown, more buff coloured coat which goes more chestnutty and shorter in summer pelage. Very, very interesting trophy to shoot. There's no antlers. It's just got the large tusks in the bucks. The females don't normally carry tusks, however I've actually shot a doe with tusks. What is interesting about the Chinese water deer is how they've adapted to modern arable farming in the UK. In Cambridgeshire they live in the fens, which is more akin to the natural habitat in Asia where they're from. However, in Bedfordshire it's a big farming area, arable farming area, and I guess the best way to describe the behaviour, they're much more like a hare than what they are a deer, because they'll scratch a form out in the open fields, and it's more like hunting hares, stalking hares really, than actually a typical deer stalking that one would imagine. Part of the shoot here is part of Bedford Estates, so it's right where the Chinese water deer started. And today we've come here to hunt with Paul Childerley, who's the leading outfitter for Chinese water deer stalking in the UK. I've hunted with him a lot in the past. In former times when I was hunting professionally, Paul was my first choice of guide for Chinese water deer, and we're very fortunate today to be able to go out with Paul and he'll show us how it's done. Paul shows me to the target for the standard equipment check and confirmation of zero before the stalk begins.
Yeah, this one's a 22-250, a Seiko 85, new model. Had this about 2 years.
And a moderator.
Yeah, at the moment I've been using the T8s. Been using them for quite a few years, but there's one or two on the market at the moment I'm looking into. It's set up about ½ inch eye at 100. Okay. So just smack on. There's 5 in the clip, so if you want to take a couple at the red dot in the middle of the target. Okay, you can go for the red dot in the centre, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. Great stuff. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to drive round the estate, try and find suitable animals out in the fields. Once we've done this, we will hopefully stalk round to the right side of them, depending on whether the animals are lying down for the day or not.
We drive, stop and spot, and drive some more, but the Asian deer prove elusive today. It's late in the afternoon by the time we finally come across one suitable to shoot.
That back there, sorry. A deer on a dip normally. Okay. One just where the hares are. See where the two hares are? on next to the hedge. Okay.
Paul knows his land inside out, and he confidently skirts the wind and stalks me into position. Stalking further down the tree line, we're finally in place just as the deer senses something is up, but a quick, well-placed shot will prevent the deer escaping.
Bit closer. Wait for them to turn square. Okay. Straight down. Good shot, well done. Well done. Excellent. Straight down.
At this angle, a next shot was the only ethical option. I had a good rest, confidence in the rifle, and the bullet was perfectly placed. That deer was down for good. A great stalk successfully planned and executed from start to finish.
Perfect. Yep. Yearling. Well done. Yearling doe.
Yeah.
Yep. Well done. Perfect. That's perfect angle to shoot him at. It was stood at a little bit of an angle, so better shoot him there than messing up the meat. So well done.
Yeah, that's it.
Get it done out. Okay with that rifle?
Yep.
Stalk complete, it's time to head back to base. Here, Paul will show us how to cape out a trophy buck shot by another guest for a traditional shoulder mount.
Great. Right, let's go. We skin it right from the back of the animal, so it gives a long length of skin, so that any damage to the skin can be closed together and made good. Then the animal was gutted and off to the larder for meat.
Wow, Paul, that's some Chinese water deer.
Yeah, that's one of the top 5 in the country. We take a lot of bucks like that sort of, well, thereabouts, that sort of size. But that's one of the best ones, yes.
I mean, they're incredibly exciting species to stalk because they are an oddity for most stalkers.
That's correct, yeah, they're just so unusual. That's the thing with them.
And it's just the fact that they're stuck in this sort of time warp with the hollow fibre hair,
Yeah.
and they've not actually developed as other deer species have.
No, and that's a great, because it makes it such a unique thing.
Yeah.
Because they live on the middle of the fields and they're very similar to hares, they get a big traveller problem with the coursing. So
we can say pikeys, it's fine. I've been down that route before. But they are a serious problem.
They're a serious problem to a lot of the numbers of Chinese water deer that the estates are not policing it. Yeah. You've got to be very, very firm with it, otherwise you will not have a number of deer on the ground.
Yeah, I mean, I've been fortunate to be coming here for the past decade and seen how the management of this species on this estate here particularly, and next door on Woburn Abbey, the deer are here, the trophy quality is there, and it's managed to perfection.
That's right, yeah, it is about managing the species. And before they had a season come in, they were shot out of season, well, shot all year round.
Regardless if they had followers.
That's right, yeah. They used to shoot them in front of the combine. I mean, you know, so now it's the species should build more and more as we go on now.
Okay.
And now the people are understanding the value of them because they are a valuable thing to an estate.
That buck will make a fine addition to anyone's trophy room. And now, the Shooting Show news.
This is the Shooting Show news. Olympic gold medalist Richard Falls has announced Cesar Guarini as his new gun sponsor. Richard will be shooting a special edition RF model Ellipse Evo. unveiled to the public at the British Shooting Show this weekend. Giorgio Guarini, president of Caesar Guarini, said it marked a great step forward for the company. Richard plans to get back into the sporting and fit-esque scene this year, before looking forward to Rio 2016. Read the full story in the March issue of Clay Shooting, out on Thursday. The Badger Cull will begin in June, the Environment Secretary has said. The pilot culls were cancelled last year, but facing a potential £1 billion bill for bovine tuberculosis in the next 10 years, the government has once again committed to taking action. The location of the two cull areas has not yet been announced, but check the April issue of Sporting Rifle for the latest info. A gun dealer has faced apparent discrimination from banks, who refuse to take his business because he sells guns. Archie Bell said HSBC staff told him his business was not a moral company and was in the same league as pornography. Several other banks also refused his business. Basque said Mr. Bell's was not the only case, and there had been a trickle of complaints about banks' discrimination. UK airgun manufacturer Theoben, who ceased trading in 2012, has been reborn in the USA under the Rapid Air Weapons mark. Former Theoben MD and owner of Raw, Martin Rutherford, will supervise production in the USA, with focus on PCP models. Mr. Rutherford said that Theoben USA will produce a range of air rifles that a discerning airgunner aspires to. For more info, visit theoben.us or pick up the latest issue of Airgun Shooter. The British Shooting Show takes place next weekend, the first at its new home, Stoneleigh Park, Warwickshire. The show, now in its 5th year, will host over 300 exhibitors spread across 200,000 square feet of indoor space. With events, ranges and new products from the breadth of the shooting industry, it's not to be missed. Ticket information can be found at theshootingshow.co.uk. That was the Shooting Show News.
We've got this rifle, we've just put a new scope on it, and effectively we need to sight the rifle in. So the bullet's going to go where the crosshair says it will. At the moment we've no idea. We've got a target set up at 100 metres, we could just put a round in, fire it off, hope for the best, and maybe it'll be on the target, maybe it won't be. Safety issues aside, that's not particularly cost effective. So what I want to try and do is be at least reasonably satisfied before I put a live round in it that where the bullet is going to go is going to be somewhere in the proximity of the crosshair. And the way we do that is by bore sighting. Now there's various methods. It's possible to get these muzzle attachments that have a graticule on, but the way I prefer personally is the old-fashioned method, is the bolt's out, I can look right down the barrel. I'm going to pick a suitable object out there on the hillside, line it up through the barrel, then look through the scope, making sure the rifle doesn't move, and then adjust the point of impact on the scope to coincide with where the barrel is actually pointing. Now while doing this, the important thing to remember is that you've basically sighted through the bore. So it's the reverse of the way the scope and rifle normally work. So if when you look through the bore, you're bang on, you then look through the telescopic sight and the crosshair is over to the left of where you thought the bullet was going to go, you don't actually then dial in right, you dial in left on the scope to make it coincide with where the bore was pointing. Just final check on the bore sight. I've got the rifle rested on the sandbag, clamped with my hand. That white post on the hillside is centering the bore. Without letting the rifle move, I'm bringing my head up. Now I'm not getting a full sight picture because I'm so far back, but I can see more enough of the centre of the crosshairs that they're coinciding with where the bore is pointing. Yep, it's on. It's 8 o'clock, just on the outer ring, so it's 1 inch low and 2 inches left. Yeah, that's the rifle on where I want it to be, so I'm now just going to put 3 through it just to establish how the ammunition's grouping. I think I gave that about a 1/4 inch left.
How's the grip?
I can't see anything, so it's all in the black, or it's either completely missed the board. It's not too bad. As I said at the firing point, that last shot I felt I'd pulled it about a 1/4 inch. So that's a pretty damn good group, but I need to just bring it across 2, maybe 3 clicks more right, and that's on as far as I need it to be. If we assume this was a new rifle, and these are the first shots I was going to fire, now this may not be particularly practical for most people, but certainly it's something I believe in. It's this almost mythical barrel break-in issue. The rifles we use, particularly on courses, can go through several hundred rounds in a day and need to shoot accurately, and it certainly works for us, and it's certainly noticeable that they are far easier to clean at the end of the day, if nothing else. What I would actually do is I would fire one shot. The bolt would then come out, bore guide would go in, I will then put a wet patch down the barrel to remove the powder fouling, followed by another wet patch. I would then leave it a short while, patch it again until I've got certainly the powder out and possibly the start of the copper. I would then fill the barrel with bore foam. I like Forest, there are other brands, but this has worked well for me in the past. Fill the barrel with bore foam, leave the rifle so the barrel was pointing downwards, and I would leave it overnight. I would then patch it out in the morning and then finish it up with some dry patches. I would come back out here and I would then shoot another round. Now in strict terms, for the purposes of filming, this could be deadly boring, so we're going to curtail things a bit. People often ask, is there a given number of rounds we're supposed to use? The short answer is, it's as many as it takes. Some barrels are fine after 2 or 3 of those cycles, others might take 10 of those cycles. But what you will notice is as you put the cleaning rod down the barrel, you will feel points of resistance down the barrel. Typically about 9 inches ahead of the chamber is the first one, and you'll feel these as it goes through. As you go through this process, each time you do it, the rod will go through more easily, and the number of patches it takes to clear the powder out will get fewer and fewer. So you'll reach a point where you're no longer feeling any particular resistance points, and it's only taking a couple of patches to remove the powder fouling, and that's the point in which you can be satisfied you've broken the barrel in. There's no hard and fast numbers. Could be 2 or 3, it could be 10 or 15 at the outside.
That's it for this week. Thanks for watching. Be sure to visit us this weekend at the British Shooting Show on the Blaze Publishing stand. This is The Shooting Show.